What is he repping? What is he likely playing which way, start to end from the hand? And yeah, let's see. As I know Fedor, I expect a big call. All right, let's go. Next part of the little cash game review series of Fedor's cash game here. Yeah, let's just jump right into the action. We are seeing two NL 5K tables, a little heads up on the bottom left that just started, a nice ring game table on the bottom right, and two additional NL 1K tables up there. Now, maybe that's a hand to start with here really at the beginning that I do not really like how Fedor played it. So that I call him out of line, that OOL guy decides to check raise against that small sizing. That's like he used a small check raise to just attack overcards. Fedor has like an ace queen is obviously an okay calling hand. Having the ace of clubs is not necessarily great because it blocks villain's backdoor nut flush draws that he might check raise. But mainly villain is wrapping middle pairs that want to go for protection. Villain could then follow up with like a block bet to still fight versus ace highs, or to just check and get cheaply to showdown. And now let's think about what could be villain's check raise and then checking range. If it's not a pair, and a pair is not check folding here. So then it's more like something, is a flush draw check folding? Could be something like queen jack of clubs, queen 10 of clubs, which like Fedor is really dominating here. 7-8 is not really check folding there ever, I would say. So I'm not sure how much sense Fedor's small bet on the turn makes. It's more for me, as I said, I haven't seen the footage right now, but I expect to always see pocket eights now in a way. Maybe some ace jack of diamonds, okay. Then we have a cool thin value bet on the turn and have seen a very weird check raise by villain on the flop. But yeah, I don't think that whole strategy is sound and by Fedor. And we see like, I understand where it comes from, not understanding how tight cash game ranges should be in that spot. So let's see what the result was. Really interested in seeing hands. 7-6 of clubs. So this is pretty much the same thing like pocket eights in a way. Additional backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. It's just like not check calling. I think the theory play is to mainly check call that hand, make use of seeing the cheap turn, getting more information. The information here would be that villain does not improve on that 4, villain being Fedor in that perspective. Then it usually goes check against lots of ace highs, and out of line has a block bet on the river to make ace highs indifferent to calling and folding. So yeah, this hand played out a little differently just because I think both players took a, let's call it a lower frequency path. And yeah, it just shows the, I don't know, misinterpretation of the spot maybe by Fedor comparing to the tournament world. Yeah, very, very, very interesting to dive a little deeper into that. Let's already have a look at those pocket 10s, big hand that is coming up there. So I haven't seen it before, but someone told me the timestamp that there is a big hand evolving. So let's have a look at those 10s while Kevin decides to make a probably good fold. But yeah, pocket 10s on that queen 9-6 board, definitely calling that small flop bet. I don't know villain here actually. He sits down with 200 bigs, which is a sign for being a rather good player maybe that wants to cover some weaker player on the table. That guy is now 3-betting from the big blind. So if you know how ranges should look like there's lots of kind of polarized part, weaker hands in it, something like king 6 suited aces, maybe some suited queens as well, even something like king 10, king jack offsuit sometimes from those positions. This is very, very interesting to see here and to evaluate, right? So if people are having those hands, well, then 10s are great on that board. If people are not having those hands and they rather play like the value part of it, which is more like jacks plus ace king, well, then all of a sudden we are playing against ace king only. So this is the first evaluation that I try to make in this spot when I look at certain villains, where here unfortunately I have no clue. So let's try to play somewhat solver, close to solver. And now let's see how the hand plays out. Standard call on the flop, now improving to a double gutter on the turn, facing a big bet. This is now first thing we can see. This is a 75% pot hotkey. We have a double gutter, we have a pair, villain might have pocket kings, which already that 200 big blinds deep, villain shouldn't be ready to stack off kings, right? It's like we just improved to jack 10 suited, we improved to 9-8, we still might have that deep 5-7 suited sometimes. We have all kinds of hearts, we have obviously the sets, pocket 9s, pocket 8s, pocket 6s that do not necessarily need to raise the flop. So yeah, kings aces cannot go direction all in with that sizing. They can bet this now to then block bet later or whatever. So yeah, by seeing that hotkey, this could still mean everything, but it's definitely on that card that improves the cutoff by quite a lot. A sign of strength, and only a few hands maybe make good bluffs there as well. So our hand has no option, unfortunately. Fortunately, makes it easy. Right? Just calling, hoping for some kind of hit or give up by villain. Or maybe a good candidate to jam over block bets. And now we have a very, very, very interesting card. So let's first think about turn action again. What might villain have? Kings aces is going for value on the turn. And then depending on the river, going for value there as well. But probably not for stacks. That would be too thin. Maybe something like nines itself. Jack 10 suited, obviously, is a good option. And then the next question, which bluffs could villain have? And this brings it all back to what is his 3-bet range in the first place? Does he have something like, well, I would say his bluffs can be ace-king, obviously, playing the same way like aces and kings, preferably having a heart with it, just like on that heart flush draw turn, blocking continuing range, having options on rivers like those, and then mainly suited hands. Right, if you have random suited hands that you are 3-betting, something like king 5 of hearts, why not going for a turn bet? Something like ace 5, ace 7 of hearts was possible on the turn, not anymore in that river. Ace 10 of hearts, king 10 of hearts, king jack of hearts. Very, very interesting. This is what we expect. So on that river, I think we are expecting lots of checks. That's a great river for us since we have all queen x of hearts, all 6x of hearts, ace jack, ace 10 of hearts. We have lots of just 10x. That are calling pocket 10s, 9-10 suited, that are all calling on the turn. And it should be, it's probably not a range check for villain, but a high frequency check on that very, very bad river card for him. And now we see this here. So I've just tried to, to explain that we have probably more 10x than villain. It's like we get there with pretty much any 10 that we continue with just by having a double gutter on the turn. We should have more flushes as well because we get to that river with all our flush draws. Villain could check queen x of hearts on the turn. He could decide to not c-bet something like king 5 of hearts on the flop. He could do, I don't know, such a great card, and still villain decides to overbet into us, which means, well, he's forcing us to continue like 40% of our range only, which I think we just have lots of flushes and straights. Now the question is this a sign of strength? Is this a sign of weakness? What could that mean? Which bluffs could you have? So we can find ace jack, ace 10 of hearts. We can find ace king of hearts maybe. We can find ace 5 of hearts. Definitely those, not flushes, king high flushes. Now it's the question, which bluffs can we find? We need offsuit hands to find bluffs here. That's the first big thing. Is villain raising something like ace jack off preflop? And every 10 makes a straight, that is not bluffing. So we need something like ace jack or king jack offsuit, and we obviously have ace king. The big question is, are those hands playing like that? I'm mainly thinking about the turn, right? They are all, I think ace jack is just unlikely pre-flop. Never seeing it. It's not a big part of that range anyways. So ace king is the most likely hand that could do that, being triggered by the king or ace of hearts on the river. Yeah, is that ace king c-betting the flop? Yes, most of the time probably. Is it with a heart betting the turn? Question mark. If it gets to that river and now has like the ace of hearts king, is it doing that? Pretty likely. So this is what we are looking for, and then we need to kind of even out with like what are the potential value hands villain is having. This is from like the exploitative standpoint. Is he over bluffing? Is he under bluffing that spot? He's representing a certain hand category, which is freaking flush plus. Jack 10 is just running into all the flushes and tries to make a 10, maybe even fold. So obviously we have one of the best catchers that we can have, a 10 with a heart. And this is now, right, where Fedor definitely should go in the tank and think about, do I want to catch here at all? Or just fold all my catchers? It's definitely not a fist pump snap call here. Villain is representing a stronger hand than a 10. I'm not sure what to think here. Like from my experience, I'm saying people just have jacks plus ace king a lot and are usually missing the bluffs, especially deep, 200 big blinds deep from the big blind here. And what does that lead to? If I just say villain has jacks plus ace king, then there's one combination left that beats us and a couple of ace kings that are offsuit, right? This is really just breaking it down, making it as easy as possible. But as easy as possible means at the same time, it's very, very likely that people think that way or do that high frequency. I cannot say that he is never 3-betting king 5 suited here, right? Maybe he is, I don't know. But this is lots of ifs, and I try to go with the high frequency things. And this is something maybe as a little advice for everyone that can help a lot. What is he repping? What is he likely playing which way, start to end from the hand? And yeah, let's see. As I know Fedor, I expect a big call, and because I was told there's a big hand evolving, you see how he's contemplating it. And yeah, as I told you guys, I haven't seen the hand before, you need to believe that, but this was pretty much what we were looking for. And if we see the ace king of hearts, we wouldn't have any information. It's just like, yeah, he had it. We still don't know how he plays the offsuit ace king, but it's just very, very likely that this line actually ends up being bluff heavy there. But just in the way I tried to nail it down. So I think Fedor did that at that point, deciding to go for the catch. Would have been interesting how he plays it without a heart, tens without a heart, whether he was more looking at his range or looking at villain's range, just like from an exploitative standpoint, what is more likely, what villain is doing, etc. Again, we see the same pattern over and over. Slightly too loose pre-flop. This is just because he wants to play hands and he comes from the tournament world. But now to post-flop, really having the thought processes. When the pot develops over multiple streets and things get really interesting over time, he makes great decision, or potentially. We don't know the real results, how people play ranges. But it looked very, very nice to me. I mean, I feel like I need to downgrade him every single time a little more for that pre-flop looseness. Fedor has 5-3 suited on the cutoff, which is obviously out of this world regarding open raising. Maybe we want to widen our range. I think still that this is definitely too loose. So let's give him a freaking 5.8 for that. We've seen now 2 great bluff catching situations, folding one, calling one, where I liked both results of his decision making. So let's give him a very, very solid 9.1 again here for this one. He's definitely not the type of guy you want to see go into the tank when you are bluffing or value betting. He will make a lot of correct decisions. Yeah, GG Fedor.